Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit here, back again with Attack on Titan Season 4. We're on episode 21. Sorry for the long wait for this episode. Guys, I had a bit of bad news at the end of last week. So I just didn't feel like in the right space of mind to, record videos or anything like that. But we are back now, and don't worry for episode 22, because I know that that is out now as well. That will be out shortly after this one, okay? So you don't have to wait long for that episode reaction. But yeah, so last episode 20, Memories of the Future, was an interesting one because we got a sort of a perspective on Grisha that we didn't know before, which was this whole idea that he was actually pretty much going back on the whole Attack Titan thing, like his whole plan of taking the Founder and everything. He was actually willing to give that up for the sake of his family and everything. But the interesting thing, I think the biggest thing, was that Eren was actually sort of at play the whole time. That everything that was going to happen was supposed to happen that exact way, and that it was actually Eren that was the catalyst for Grisha taking the Founder and everything that would eventually end up to back with Eren, So it's a really, really cool idea, and I really like the idea that it was basically Eren all along that was the catalyst and had basically the control all along. But there was some people who did actually comment to help me out. So the actual ability, from what I've heard, is to see the future of future inheritors. The other thing that I was told as well is that Grisha can't actually see Eren and Zeke. Now, I did kind of understand that part of it. The only part that I think is interesting is that they would I was told that his point of view was kind of like a third person looking through the eyes of Eren, but then I wonder how does that work in context with the end of the episode where Grisha is hugging Zeke, how does that work? Because if Grisha is because what's Grisha really doing there? Is he hugging nothing? But he is aware that obviously because he's looking through the eyes of Eren, he can see that. I guess so, right? I guess, so if someone was looking on from the forest, they would just basically be able to see Grisha holding on to nothing. He'd probably look like a crazy person. But well, I mean, to be fair, he was going a bit crazy because he did things that he didn't want to do. He ended up killing children and stuff because Eren had basically commanded him to. And yeah, it was interesting. The turnaround again, the twist. they pulled it back again and twisted it around. We thought that Eren was in control the whole time, and then we had that episode where it was Zeke was always in control, and then no, actually Eren was in control the whole time. I love it, man. I love it. So yeah, I mean, I can't wait to get into this next one and see where we go from here. If we're finally at a point where we come back into the real world away from the coordinate or whatnot. I mean, I still feel like there's obviously things to be done in the coordinate area. Eren probably still has some more stuff to say, but yeah, I mean, we're getting to the end of the season now, so I think we'll not continue talking any further, and I think we'll just get in episode 21. So, as always, the reaction will be here on YouTube, but if for whatever reason it gets taken out for copyright in the future, I'll re-upload this as a discussion only, and a link to the reaction will be in the description below. As always, a link to the full-length reaction to this episode is in the description below as well, so if you do want to watch my full-length reaction and not just the cut 10-minute version, then the offer is there for you. But yes, nothing else to talk about, so we're going to get in episode 21, see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. So you get to see more of this fight. God. It took absolutely nothing, did it? Nothing at all. Jesus. Ugh.
父さんを壁の王や世界と戦うように仕向けたのか。父さん、グリシャは復権派の務めをためらっていた。
He did, yes.
感謝してるよ、兄さん。あんたが俺を親父の記憶に連れ込んだおかげで今の道がある。俺は親父の記憶から自分の未来を見た。あの景色を。
Ah, that was when it was. I thought so.
始祖ユミル、 全てのユミルの民から生殖能力を奪え。
You did not think this bit through, Eren?
エレンを止めてくれと。お前がここで始祖の力が使えないことを知らなかったように。
Yeah, because there are certain things, like, it's not... Oh god, he's gonna rip his arms off! Oh my god! Jesus, Eren!
一度動き出したユミルを止めることなどこの世の何者にもできない。
From you 2,000 years ago. Oh god. It's the title of the first episode. I love it when they go back to the old soundtrack, like the old OSTs. It feels very nostalgic and so long ago.
そうだね。女の子らしくっていうのはこの子みたいな女の子のことかな。いつも他の人を思いやってる優しい子だからね。
We're gonna see how it started, like how this became, like how it came to be.
この世界は辛くて厳しいことばかりだから。
Maybe she did actually make a deal with the devil.
この中に豚を逃がした者がいる。
Guessing it was Yumia that did it. They're all pointing her out. Oh, fucking hell. They all... you know what I mean? On a kid as well, like it's...
よかろう。お前は自由だ。
Yeah, free my arse. It's like bloody Ramsay from Game of Thrones. It might not have even been her that opened up the thing, but like they just forced it on her, you know? It's like the World Tree. It's like some ancient power in here. Get in there, you can hide in it. Oh my god. It's like an underworld. What's that? What the fuck is this? Okay, that... Holy fuck. And then that creates the very first Titan. Okay. What on earth? Oh, fucking hell. So that... Oh my god. So it was in the name of... This is nuts. But it basically is like... It built the world, like... Having that power allowed... For like civilization to soar. Oh my god, it's like Leonidas! This is crazy, because it's like she was a slave. That's why she is like commanded by... Oh god! What? Well, that's where the names of the walls come from. Wow. That's where it's all created from. That's nuts. God, it's like it's almost like she's been condemned to this whole thing. God. To end it. Oh god! He's going to get through to her. He is.
2000年前から誰かを
Fucking hell! Shh. It's too late. It's too late. Oh, fuck. Oh. Oh god! Holy fuck! Oh man! Fuck, 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 here they come, here they come! Oh my god, they're all coming! The walls are gone, they're gone, they're officially gone! Oh, fuck! What on earth? Fucking Jesus Christ! What the fuck am I looking at? Holy shit! Fucking hell, it's huge! They can't even hear each other! I've got chills, man! Fuck! Holy fuck, dude! I can't believe we're at this point! He's going more than... He's going more. He's going to... What the fuck? He can he talk to all of them? Oh my god! Unreal! Holy fuck, dude! I've got fucking chills! Oh! Holy fuck! I can't believe we're at this point! Oh my god. We've reached it. We've reached the point, like, this is so... This is like the biggest significant point, like, in this show. It has to be. Like, we've reached that moment. Like, ever since the first episode, like, the wall has almost been like... It's almost been like a character, like, in of itself. Like, the walls are like, they're so significant to the whole story. And they're gone. That's it, they're gone. And every single Titan... I mean, I don't even know, like, what to even put a number on how many there are. But fucking hell, there has got to be an army of, like, probably more. Because if you think they're stood, like, literally shoulder to shoulder for how big it... Oh my god, and they're all colossals. Fucking hell. How... There's no way. Like, there's no... How is... There's no way that, like, they don't literally just do what they say that they're going to do and trample the whole fucking world. You can't stop that. Shit, and I don't know where we go from here. Like, where's the... I don't know, like, it's interesting because I'm thinking, like, where does the... I mean, I know that it's going to still be amazing, like, amazingly well written, like, from here on out, but my point is, like, I'm just stuck as to where the story goes. Because... Like, the story in general, and generally, like, in most stories, like, the story comes with characters and their sort of, like, you know, fight against themselves, like, what they believe, what their motives are and stuff. But Eren's has always been straightforward. I mean, it's kind of flipped, if you think about it from the very start, where it's like, you know what I mean, I'm going to kill all the Titans to I'm gonna kill everyone else, you know. So it has kind of more of like a 180, but generally like, I don't know. I don't know where it goes from here, because like I'm thinking, because this is the thing, like Armin and whatnot, like he was so happy. He was like, because Armin was like, I was proven right. Like I was the one that stood by his side when everyone else was, you know what I mean? They were doubting Eren and what his, like, where his allegiances like lay, and Armin was like so happy because he was you know, vindicated in his reasoning, and then it immediately turns. It's like, wait a minute, we don't need that many. Why is he getting like all of the Titans? And it's like it's like, so I don't know. I think you could have. I don't know, because I don't want that to be the case. I don't want it to be like, I don't know how they're gonna react, because it's like he's doing it for them, right? But you can imagine like Armin wouldn't want to see that happen. I would like to see what the other members of the crew think. Mikasa generally doesn't have, like, you know, like she generally doesn't sort of sway in terms of her feelings towards Eren, really, you know. So I don't know, maybe this might be one where it's like her character, like, for the first time maybe she goes against it. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see like Jean and Connie's as well, because I feel like Jean will probably be more so like on sort of like that, like on the same side like as Armin, in regards to like, you don't have to kill the whole fucking world, Eren, what are you doing? Connie, I don't know, because Connie was one way because he thought that Eren was basically against them, but now he's like, basically it's all there to see that he's doing this for them. It'll be interesting to see what Connie thinks. The fact he was basically he's able to talk to all of the aliens that's great. And like when you see them in the coordinate, like you see Pixis again, you know. I think that'll probably be the last time we ever see him in his human form. But we got to see him again. But like it's so cool, just like that, like he's able to communicate with them all. And he's put all of his, I like how once he has, you know, he started the rumbling and everything like that he immediately comes out and tells them, this is what I'm doing. Because I feel like in his mind he was like, he probably hated the idea that he had to keep so secretive to them, you know. So now that he's started what we believe is going to be essentially the end of the world, except for, you know, the Eldians, that, you know, he's like, right, this is my plan. This is what I'm doing. It's mad, man. It's crazy, because like, oh god, this whole story with Amir and how it started, I didn't expect it to like, that was this, because all of this time when you have the, oh god, hold on, let me get a drink. Right. We've heard the story before about how, like, Amir made a deal with the devil and whatnot. And to some degree, I mean, I guess you can look at it in that sort of, you know, spectrum. We'll get into the whole, like, weird ancient being thing in a bit, but like, the mad thing is that she, I mean, it's tragic. What like, she has never had a moment's peace. It's just like she's been a slave for like eons. But it's the idea that she was actually fighting for the side, like, for her enemies. And I didn't think that would have been the case. I mean, I get, it makes sense totally on paper, like when it's like giving it to you, but I suppose like the way that it happens is very much like, 'cause this is the thing, like, we've had this before, like throughout this whole show, there's always been the opposite side fighting for essentially what would be considered like their enemies kind of thing, you know? In that sort of like black and white sense, but you know, because you've had, you know, the warriors obviously fighting for, you know, Paradis and whatnot. I mean, well, it was really just an infiltration thing, but you get the idea. It's like they've been on that side. And then obviously you've got the Eldians, which obviously include the warriors anyway, that are fighting for Marley. So it's always been that, like, kind of like, it's always been there. But to think that like it all started from like in the same way is mental to me. And that the Eldians, like, all of that propaganda, like what you think is propaganda, it's just storytelling, right? It's like, you know, Amir made a deal with the devil. You think that people are just telling the stories that sort of benefit them in a way, you know, like make them look good, and that's something that that happens in the real world. I mean, you know, you've got to know for a fact that like atrocities that took place were basically swept under the carpet and then written out like the winners were the heroes. But you can imagine like all of this has went on in our own history, where like genocide has happened and it's just been written off and you never hear about it because it was written after that you know we were actually the good guys in all of this. It's like, God. But it turns out, you know, we've heard this before, like the Eldians were the original sort of destroyers of civilizations. And back then it's like, oh, it's just propaganda. Because it's that early on in the show, you know. I think that was like before, I could be wrong, I think that it could have been in the sort of like the last few episodes of season 3 when we actually learned about like Marley and everything, but you know, like, it's kind of before you get a real sense of the other side and what they're fighting for. So you kind of just have this idea where it's like, well, the people on Paradis can do, like, you know what I mean? They're not like responsible for anything, and they're not, because it still is like a case of, you know, like, why should people have to answer for things that their ancestors did, you know what I mean? It's not the fault of the people who were born. But what they were saying essentially in that story was actually completely and utterly right. That they were like, the Eldians were the original people that were the destroyers of civilization, and all of that stemmed from Emir, who, fucking hell, I mean. So I'm guessing the Eldians, they were originally called Eldians, like, in that initial, like, sort of part of the episode where obviously they break through and raid the villages, right? Like, I'm guessing they were called the Eldians then as well, and it wasn't just like a new thing made up. That, you know, they came in, ransacked the whole place, killed off the, you know, the men or whatnot, and then enslaved the women and children. And then there was this whole thing with a you know, a sort of like a gate being left open, pigs allowed to basically escape, and that's the thing. It's like, we don't even know if Emir was even responsible for that. Like, she probably wasn't. I bet you any money she wasn't. I know I did say like in the, like, well, I didn't specifically say, but like when I was watching the episode, I was like, maybe she did, but I'm actually more willing to bet she didn't. And the villagers basically blamed her, and then ever since then, like, I bet you any money from that point on, she had no fucking desire to have, like, you know what I mean, she just basically gave up and was like, fuck it, fuck the world kind of thing. So she obviously, you know, ran off like to be free. I did mention, like, it's kind of like Ramsay Game of Thrones things. It's like, well, you're free, but yeah, not really, because we're going to hunt you down, you know what I mean, use you for sport. So she finds this big tree, which I've called the World Tree, an entrance slid down into this sort of pool at the bottom, and then there's this weird being that still isn't explained, but I'm just calling it the ancient being, the ancient one, let's just call it that. But whatever that is, that relates and sort of is the sort of like the connection. The first ever Titan to ever exist was from then. I wonder, because this is the thing, like, obviously I had, you know, we were talking in the last episode, right, about how the Attack Titan, everything like that, is kind of like a the way that it works in the sort of like the time and everything just feels like it's a loop. So like things just occur and occur and occur. But like almost like it was always meant to happen that way. But yeah, I can't imagine that ancient being Eren. And if it is, that'd be mad. That'd be insane. I wonder if the tree that, I think is in the first ever episode, the first thing you ever see is Eren leaning up against a tree. I wonder if that has anything to do with, like, because I mean it doesn't look anything like the tree that Ymir went into, but I wonder if that is a purposely put there, because the same thing as well as the title. The episode of the first one is to you 2,000 years ago, and then this one's from you 2,000 years ago. So there's obviously a connection between that and the first episode anyway. I just wonder if like that's put there purposefully, and if so, imagine that 80 episodes between them, and you know, because when you think about it, when you've got the mangaka writing a story from start to finish, I wonder how much like sort of preparation he put in beforehand before starting, you know, because if that is the case, and it was like that was always a connection that was meant to be there in these like these you know, this far away, like, you know, in between in the story, then that'd be incredible. But yeah, so she goes down into there, she connects with this being, and becomes the first Titan. So from then, she ends up essentially from then on fighting for the Eldians. So I wonder, like, is there a reason for that? Is it just because she saw her own people, like you know, rat her out, or like, you know, basically threw her under the bus, that she was like, you know what, fuck you lot, I'm fucking, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go fight for them. But then it's like, it's a tragic thing where it's like, well, fucking hell, you're fighting for essentially the people that enslaved you and ruined your life in the first place, and it never changes from then on. But because of that, essentially, with the help of her being a Titan and whatnot, that fighting on their side allows them to essentially destroy other civilizations, get whatever, you know, if they have made, you know, like basically like work their way up in like sort of like technology, then they take their technology or whatever, basically puts them into a essentially like a kind of like a golden age, I guess. They just kind of saw, and really quickly as well, because I'm pretty sure the first king, so King Fritz obviously, but that's the same guy, right, throughout. So he obviously, like, the difference between when they turned up to raid that village to them looking like they're the new fucking Rome, you know what I mean? Like, that is a fucking sharp turnaround. And it's interesting, like, because I wonder how much time had sort of elapsed between those 2 points, like between Ymir getting the Titan and her dying, because we know that if you're a Titan, you have 13 years. I feel like that time span, I don't know, I could be wrong. I feel like the time span could be longer though. I could be wrong, but I mean the difference, the sheer difference in their like sort of way of living totally changed. There could have been a thing where they didn't, like them in particular, like they didn't actually build that city and they just took it over. That could be the case. It's probably more likely, to be fair. So it's interesting, like I wonder, I mean, because we've always known that Ymir is a sort of like a Norse kind of word, right? And obviously they wore sort of those spiked helmets and whatnot, the Eldians. So I'm guessing they're sort of Vikings, kind of, right? It makes sense. I mean, the fact that, you know, they raided as well. Not like others didn't raid, and I mean, everyone back then fucking raided at some point, but you get what I mean. Like, Vikings really were kind of like the king of raiding, so it makes sense. So yeah, I mean, Ymir fought for them, and then she was basically forced into, into basically conceptions with daughters and whatnot to carry on this sort of bloodline and whatnot. And she had 3 daughters, I believe, and they were Maria, Rose, and Sina. So that's where the names of the walls come from. It's a cool little, just like a cool little thing as well. I really like that. And I mean, they basically, like, I can't believe it. Like, Ymir, like, you know, got in the way of the fucking the spear. I was like, that's Leonidas. Oh God. I wouldn't be surprised if that was like a nod to Leonidas, you know. But yeah, she basically took the spear. She died, and then the fucking king, God, what a bastard he is, forced the daughters to basically eat her body. And then that's where it sort of that's where it obviously split. So that, like, you know, all the power that Ymir had split into all of the 9 Titans. Absolutely nuts. It's crazy, man. I can't believe we're at this point. It really puts into perspective, like, for me, because now it's knowing where it all came from. The Eldians were the original bastards. Like, Marley's whole story about, like, you know, the, like, where Ymir and everything, like, came to be, like, how the Eldians, like, came about and they were destroying civilizations. I mean, they were right in what they were saying. It's crazy. And that's the thing, is, like, because Eren is essentially carrying out the original king's will, it's like, I don't know how to feel about it. But the thing is that I know that Eren is not doing it for, like, that reason. He's not doing it for, like, you know, for the first king. He's doing it because he loves his people, you know? And he understands that, like, you know, because of, you know, atrocities that took place, you know, many years ago, that, like, the world is essentially against them, and it's kind of like it's just fucked in that regard, you know. Like, it's like the people overseas are essentially fucking themselves over, because they're having this global assembly to take them out, and all Eren is essentially doing is retaliating. It's a retaliation, you know. It's like, if you really want to, if you're really going to wipe us out, and you think we're just going to stand here and take it, then you can go get fucked. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit around and do nothing. But it does put up that whole, like, sort of dilemma you have, where it's like, well, you know, Eren isn't doing it for the first king, but it's like, it aligns with what the first king wanted. And the first king's that much of a dick that you obviously don't want him to get sort of his way in the end, you know? But I don't know, like, what I was talking about before, like, if that ancient being is somehow, like, Eren, you know? If it is, like, what you said, it's like a loop that, like, always happens, and I guess you can like, it's the story of it is talking about, like, that whole thing, like, relating it to real life, about how, like, it's always just going to be a loop of fucking war and tragedy and whatever, you know, like, nothing really changes, because it's a really poignant message to as a story to tell, you know. But yeah, it's fucking crazy, man. I love the imagery of... I mean, that's the thing. It's like that thing connected to Eren's head. Like, that's how he is now. Like, how does that... I don't even know how that works. I don't know, like... I mean, because he's basically connected up with whatever that being is, and it kind of looks like, the way that it looks is I guess somewhat similar to, like, the way, like, the coordinate paths kind of look. Like, it's got that, like, sort of body that you know. So he's essentially like connected to the coordinate almost as like a physical entity, because he looks, fucking hell, he's huge. It's like this massive fucking just like rib cage thing. Like, I don't know, can he get out of it? Because if he's... I hope so. But I'm just wondering, like, how does his... Like, the way his Titan is... I don't know. But this is crazy. We're at a point where, like, there's, like, no turning back. It's just full throttle. I mean, I guess you could, like, say that for a lot of times in the show, but this is, like, fuck. The rumbling, man. Jesus. And nothing stops Eren. Nothing stops him. He was chained up. He was like, fuck it. Just fucking, just pulled out with the cunts. And I think Zeke was right. I think what Eren does, Eren's going to do. And can't stop it. But damn, dude. That was insane. I don't know if I've got anything else to really talk about. I'm just fuck it. I don't. I'm just going to get in episode 22 because I want to see where we go from here. So yeah, that is all I've got for episode 21. So thank you everyone for watching. In the description below, I have links to certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there if you wish. And I also have a Patreon page as well. So if you do want to support me on Patreon, that'd be very much appreciated. There is a bunch of different tiers and rewards there, like early access. Gives you access to shows a week early. The full-length tier, which gives you access to all of the full-length reactions to the shows that I do. And then there's the exclusive tier, which gives you access to full-length movie reactions and everything like that. But yeah, that was all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.